Hello and welcome to a new IELTS Express vocabulary focus lesson. We have reached topic number 6 and today we'll be talking about cities. Now, the skill that we're going to focus today is reading. We're going to learn nouns associated with human geography and adjectives to describe places. Then we're also going to recognize superordinate terms and recognize positive and negative connotation. And as I said, reading is our main skill today. So for our exam practice, we are going to focus on matching headings. Okay, so again, grab your notepad and let's get started. We are going to start with the vocabulary, just like you're used to. And we have some pretty words over here. We have amenities. Are things such as shopping centers, sports facilities that are provided for people's convenience, enjoyment, or comfort. For example, the hotel amenities include health clubs, conference facilities, and banqueting rooms. Commuter, what we have in Romanian, navetist, is a person who travels a long distance to work every day. For example, the number of commuters to London has dropped by 100,000. Congestion is an uncountable noun. If there is congestion in a place, the place is extremely crowded and blocked with traffic or people. For example, the problems of traffic congestion will not disappear in a hurry. Housing, uncountable noun. You refer to buildings in which people live as housing when you are talking about their standard, price, or availability. For example, a shortage of affordable housing. Residents. The residents of a house or area are the people who live there. For example, more than 10% of Munich residents live below poverty line. Immigrant. An immigrant is a person who has come to live in a country from some other country. For example, Portugal, Spain, and Italy all have large immigrant populations from Africa. Infrastructure, and this one is a countable noun because you can say infrastructures. The infrastructure of a country, society, or organization consists of the basic facilities such as transport, communications, power supplies, and buildings, which enable it to function. For example, investment in infrastructure projects, or a focus on improving existing infrastructures. Inhabitant. The inhabitants of a place are the people who live there. The inhabitant of Glasgow. Neighborhood, the hood. You can spell it here with OU. This is the British spelling, or with OR. This is the American spelling. A neighborhood is one of the parts of a town where people live. Neighborhood to, plus infinitive. It seemed like a good neighborhood to raise my children, or neighborhood of. He was born and grew up in the Flatbush neighborhood of Brooklyn. Okay, we're done with nouns. Moving on to adjectives. Now we have a very famous adjective. I'm sure you've heard about this one. It goes together in the phrase hustling and hustle and bustle. Bustling. A bustling place is full of people who are very busy or lively. For example, the bustling streets of Vienna. Pioneering. Pioneering work or a pioneering individual does something that has been done for the very first time, that hasn't been done before. For example, by developing or using new methods or techniques. And here, you could say the school has won awards for its pioneering work with the community. Okay, the next one needs a little bit of attention because it's quite notorious for being confused with its other brother. And that one would be, I'm sure you know it, historical. Okay, now historic and historical are two different words. Yes, they have been used interchangeably over the years, but actually they have taken on separate roles in most cases. So historical is used as the general term for describing history, such as historical record, while historic is now usually reserved for important and famous moments in history, like a historic battle. For example, just crossed my mind. If you know the Battle of Hastings in England, that was a historic battle. So keep it like this. Historical describes history. Oh, my handwriting. Now, historic is for important events in history. And again, if you're worried about whether you should use it with articles a or un before either word, they both are fine, but a is more common, like a historic. Yeah. So they're quite a pair. And okay, why do we say historic and why do we say historical? Yeah. First of all, they differ from habit and hero in a very crucial way. And they have their stress syllable is the second, not the first. And again, it is used to be that with an initial H that was not pronounced in many such words. And this is why unhistoric and historical came to be used in the first place. So again, the two words are the simply core simple variants, but over the 400 plus years of use, they've mostly settled, and again, emphasis on mostly, into distinct roles. So just to recap, historical is a typical choice for the broad and general use related to history, and then historic for momentous, important events in history. And it has been used by Shakespeare, by George Washington, so on and so forth. Okay, so make sure you don't confuse the words. It's really important. Okay, moving on. Rural, a lot of rural liquids here. Rural means related to country areas as opposed to large towns, of course. These plants have a tendency to grow in the more rural areas. The next one is sprawling, which is also an adjective. A place that is sprawling has been built over a large area in an untidy or uncontrolled way. For example, a sprawling suburb on the edge of a big city. It's chaotic. And the very last adjective is urban, which is the opposite of rural, means belonging to or relating to a town or city. For example, most of the population is an urban population. All right, and we're done with the vocabulary. We can move on to our warm-up, of course. And for today, I have a little brainstorm. In 1 minute, I would like you to brainstorm words or phrases related to the city, town you live in. It can be the city where you live right now or where you were born, and it's totally fine for you to give negative words. I'm not saying cursing or using foul language, but for example, I can say that I live in Bucharest, District 3, and I am surrounded by noise and pollution, which is actually true. And this is a negative word, but I'm not using any foul language. Okay, so you've got 1 minute for this one. As I told you from the previous lessons, I'm going to play some chill music in the background. Please let me know if it's too distracting and if you want me to stop. Here it goes. Okay, time's up. Please let me know the city you have decided to talk about in the comment section. And now that you're warm up, we're going to start with activity 1. As I said, the focus today is the reading skill. So you've got 5 sentences and you've got pairs of words which are similar in meaning. And you have to choose the word which has the more positive connotation. Remember that in the objectives today, I told you that we're going to talk about positive and negative connotation. Well, in the IELTS reading exam, you may have to answer questions about the writer's attitude. And writers often convey their attitude by choosing words which have positive, negative, or neutral connotations. For example, if a writer describes a solution as simple, they mean that it is obvious and straightforward, which has a positive connotation. If a writer describes a solution as simplistic, they are criticizing it for being simpler than it should be, so it has a negative connotation. And it's really important if you can learn to recognize whether a word has a positive, negative, or neutral connotation. Okay, so you've got 1 minute. It's really easy for you to read the sentences and then to choose the one which has a more positive connotation. Here it goes. All right, time's up. Here are the answers. By the way, in sentence 3, you've got novel, which is another synonym, fancy synonym for new. Well, since you won a word, it's not really new, it's something, it's pioneering. And for number 5, there are many historic buildings in the town center. If you say they're old, you give a negative connotation, like they're shabby. But historic, oh, wow, that's really nice. Yeah, even though it's about to fall. All right, we're done with the first activity. We're moving on with the next one. Remember that I told you about superordinates? Yes, we're going to figure out exactly what they mean. Again, in the IELTS reading exam, you may have to show that you can identify the writer's main ideas by matching headings to sections of text. And the headings capture the main ideas, and the sections contain detailed information and examples. Well, superordinates are words that describe a group or category, and they can help you match headings. Superordinates are like an umbrella term. For example, let me give you an example. Pay attention to this word set: summer, season, winter, spring. Which is the superordinate? Yes, season is the superordinate because summer, winter, and spring are all examples of season. And it's really important for you to learn how to recognize subordinate terms. Well, in this activity, for which you got only 1 minute, I would like you to read the sets of words and choose the superordinate term. Trust me, it's really easy. Here it goes. Okay, time is up, and the answers are public transport, housing, amenity, and infrastructure. Okay, moving on to the very next activity, which is also bar superordinates, but this one you have to choose more than one answer. Again, you've got 1 minute to do so, and here we go. Okay. So for people, we've got commuter, immigrant, resident, inhabitant. For places, we've got suburb, region, and neighborhood. And for events, we've got only one, a street party. All right, moving on. You're going to read the paragraph. And you have to decide which of the subordinates terms 1 to 4 matches the words in bold. Okay, read it very carefully. You've got 2 minutes to do so, and then choose the correct answer 1, 2, 3, or 4. Here we go. Okay, time's up, and the answer is obviously origin. So you can have food coming from the overseas or elsewhere in the country, rural, or produced in the city, in the ground, or gardens. And we are done with the activities. We're moving on to exam practice. Now you're going to read a passage which has 5 paragraphs, A to E. On your left side, you've got a list of headings, 1 to 8, and on your right side, you've got the paragraphs, 1 to 4. What you have to do is to choose the correct headings in spaces 1 to 4. The first paragraph has been done for you. Paragraph A goes with the 5th heading. And of course, as you can see, there are more headings than paragraphs, so we will not use them all. I strongly recommend you write both the list of headings and the paragraphs. And while you read, you can match them. You're going to have 4 minutes in total, 2 minutes for each slide. And it's about the lure of the urban village. Now, homework for you for next time. What does lure mean? Search it up. Okay, 2 minutes for the first one. Here it goes. Okay, time's up, and the answers are paragraph B goes with the fourth heading, C with the third, D with the sixth, and E with the seventh. As you can see them here as well. Okay, and you are done. Congratulations for completing another IELTS Express lesson. Thank you very much for watching. If you found the lesson useful and if you learned something, don't forget to share it and also to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow me on my socials on Instagram and Facebook, where I also post like tips to go, nothing too complicated for you to practice all your skills. And I do hope to see as many of you next time when we meet. Bye bye.